This is the second of a 7-video series that describes the required steps and best practices for bringing a model from Autodesk Revit MEP using East Coast MEP Design to Fabrication over to fabrication for AutoCAD MEP and later into Duct Maker for fabrication using the patented East Coast CAD/CAM Design to Fabrication workflow and software. In this video, I will show you how to set up Part Manager and Fabrication for AutoCAD MEP to prepare for working with the Revit MEP data. The setup process goes over setting up your free and standard manufacturer defaults, how to enable the MEP Design to Fabrication feature, and setting up duct fabrication preferences. First, I'm going to be talking about the manufacturer defaults that are set up in Part Manager, the database software tool provided with the Design to Fabrication. We recommend that you create 2 manufacturer defaults for use with importing Revit MEP files. In addition to the defaults that you typically use for drawing duct, we recommend that you create a free and a standard default. In setting up the standards defaults, you want to set up all of your typical shop standards for fittings as primary parameters. This will ensure that your shop standards are followed regardless of how the fittings were drawn by the engineer. Now, to get to the manufacturer defaults, we're going to go to the gear up into the top right, go to the manufacturer defaults, and we're going to take a look at the EC Rec standards. For this example, we're going to check out the square elbow. Here on this square elbow, we will set the straight in and straight out to secondary parameters and set them to be 6 inches each. This will ensure that all square elbows are converted from Revit MEP to AutoCAD MEP with 6 inches of straight. We will leave the rest of the dimensions on the square elbow as primary or free parameters, as we want this information to come directly from the engineer drawing. Now, as another example, we're going to go to the round conical tap, which is in the EC round standards. And here we will set the base diameter, the length, and the straight out to secondary or force parameters. We'll set the base diameter to always equal the tap diameter plus 2 inches. We will set the length to always be 6 inches. And we'll set the straight out to 1.5 inches. Again, these dimensions will be used regardless of how the conical taps were drawn by the engineer. You would now want to continue setting up your standard defaults in the manner of each fitting, determining which parameters should be forced and which parameters should be free. We recommend setting up separate defaults for rectangular, round, and oval. When you set up a default, make sure you first determine which fittings you will be using by selecting the visibility button and checking only the fittings that are to be used in the manufacturer default. Visibility button is in the top left. Here's the round. You see, these are all of the fittings that are included in the manufacturer default. Alright, once you have completed the setup of your standard defaults, you will want to set up your free default. In this default, we move all of the parameters to primary parameters. This free default will be useful later when we prepare the converted drawing for fabrication. Now that we have reviewed the manufacturer defaults, let's take a look at a couple of items that need to be set up in fabrication for AutoCAD MEP. First, this video works with systems, routing preferences, display themes, and other items that are found in the version 5.0 EC Star drawing template. For the purpose of this video, you should use this drawing. Later, if desired, you can move some of these items to your own Star template drawing. Next, we need to ensure that the MEP Design to Fabrication Revit feature is enabled inside Fabrication for AutoCAD MEP. For this to be enabled, you need to have the proper software license, and you need to verify that the option is turned on. To verify that the option is turned on, we're going to type in OP for options in the command line. And we're going to go over to the EC Tools tab, which is all the way to the right. Scroll down, and here it is, Revit feature enabled. If this option is not checked, then check it. Restart AutoCAD MEP and verify that it is now checked. If it is still not checked, then you may not have the proper software license, and you should contact East Coast Product Support to verify your license. You can now download the catalog, which contains the manufacturer defaults you created in Part Manager. Next, we need to set up the duct fabrication preferences. The duct fabrication preferences are located under the Fabricate drop-down, which is located right here. Here's where you choose which manufacturer default and specification you will be using. Click on the top where it says Varies and choose which manufacturer default and specification you will be using to import for rectangular, round, and/or oval. We recommend that you choose the standards manufacturer default that we set up in the previous step and the most common specification that will be used on this project. The EC Rec standards with a 2-inch water gauge. EC round standards. We'll go with the MP round coupling. Once you have your manufacturer default set up, Revit feature enabled, and the duct fabrication preferences set up, you are then ready to import your data from Revit using MEP Design to Fabrication.